Have we ever really tried to find out the truth behind the granny game that we've been playing for so many years? Have we ever tried to connect all the pieces and understand the full story behind it? If not, then come on guys, because today I'm going to tell you the truth about Granny, something that almost no one on YouTube has fully explained before. So, let's begin. In today's time, we only know Granny as an evil and scary character. But what if I told you that Granny was once a normal human being? And then suddenly something terrible happened that forced her to become what she is now. To understand this story, we need to go all the way back to the very beginning where everything started. First, let's talk about Granny herself. Her real name was Diana, and we actually have proof of this. This information comes from Grandpa himself. If you listen carefully in Granny Chapter 2 during Grandpa's song, he clearly says the name Diana, which means he is talking about Granny. So from this, we can understand that Granny's real name was actually Diana. Now, let's move to the main part of the story. A long time ago, there was a very old and dark forest. Deep inside that forest, there was only one house, and that house belonged to Diana, to Granny. Inside that house lived Granny, Grandpa, and their little daughter. Her name was Angelina. She was only 10 years old. Angelina was the reason why Granny and Grandpa were living so far away from their village. Something about her was very strange from the beginning. Since she was a child, she used to say weird things again and again. She would say, "Mother is calling me, Mother is calling me." One day, her grandmother got tired of hearing this and asked her, "Who was calling you?" Angelina gave only one answer, "She is calling me." Grandma got angry and scolded her a lot. She told her never to say such things again. She thought that after this, everything would go back to normal. But that was only what she believed. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Angelina suddenly disappeared from the house. When Granny and Grandpa realized this, Grandpa immediately went into the forest to search for her. While walking through the woods, he suddenly heard a loud scream. Without wasting time, he ran toward the sound, and then he saw something terrifying. A dark shadow was standing there. Its hand was placed on Angelina's head. Grandpa was completely shocked and scared. Before he could even react, the shadow suddenly disappeared. He quickly took Angelina and brought her back home. When they returned, Granny asked, "Where did you go?" And Angelina gave a very strange answer. She was trying to forget me. After that incident, Granny became very worried about Angelina, and Grandpa could not forget the shadow that he had seen in the forest. Time slowly passed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into years. But then one day, something even worse happened. Angelina ran away from home again, and this time it had a very deep effect on Granny. She was always thinking about her daughter. There was only one name in her mind, Angelina. Exactly 12 years passed, 12 long years without any sign of her. One day, Granny was at home, living quietly, when suddenly there was a knock on the door. Granny went and opened it, and when she did, she saw a woman standing there. Granny asked, "Who are you?" And the woman replied, "I'm Angelina." Granny was completely shocked because the daughter who had disappeared was only about 10 years old at that time, and now the person standing in front of her was a grown woman. Then Granny noticed something else. There was a child in Angelina's arms. Granny asked, "Whose child is this?" And Angelina replied, "This is my daughter, Cylindrina." Granny could not fully understand what was happening, but even then, she accepted Angelina. After that, Angelina sat down with Granny and Grandpa and told them everything. She said that for the past 12 years, she had been living in the forest, in the same place where Grandpa once found her. She explained that there was a man living there. His name was Cylinder Man, the same figure that Grandpa once saw. He wasn't just a shadow, he was actually a real person. Angelina said that when she ran away from home, the Cylinder Man took care of her completely. Over time, she even married him. But now she was tired of that life. That is why she came back. She also said something very disturbing. She said that she did not like her own daughter, Cylindrina. In fact, she said she hated her. Even though she liked the Cylinder Man, she wanted to stay away from him. Granny tried to explain to her, "This is your fate and you chose it yourself." But then, when Granny finally met the Cylinder Man, she immediately felt something was wrong. She did not like him at all. She warned Angelina to stay away from him. She told her that she could stay here instead, away from him. But by now, something had already changed inside of Angelina. It felt like she was no longer in full control of herself, almost like she was under the influence of the Cylinder Man. Then, one night, while Granny was sleeping, she suddenly heard strange noises coming from the basement. She woke up and slowly went downstairs to check. And what she saw there shocked her completely. Angelina was standing inside the basement, performing some kind of dark ritual. Granny was terrified, but she did not interrupt. She just stood there and watched everything happen. Her whole body was frozen in fear. She had never seen Angelina like this before. It didn't feel normal at all. Suddenly, Angelina realized that someone was watching her. She quickly finished the ritual. At that moment, Granny suddenly felt dizzy. She lost her balance and fell to the ground, and Angelina seemed happy to see it. Just then, the Cylinder Man appeared. He looked at Angelina and said, "You have made me happy. You did exactly what I told you." That ritual, it wasn't normal. It was black magic, and because of it, Granny and Grandpa were no longer the same. They had turned into something else, something like zombie-like creatures. Then the Cylinder Man said, "We need to leave before they wake up, because they are not the same anymore." And as soon as he said that, he grabbed Angelina's hand. And quickly left the house with her. The basement door slowly closed behind them. Everything became silent again. A few moments later, Granny's fingers started to move. Her eyes slowly opened, but something was different. Her eyes were no longer normal. They looked empty, lifeless. At the same time, Grandpa also began to wake up. He stood up slowly, like something was controlling his body. Neither of them spoke a single word, but both of them felt it. Something inside them had changed forever. From that moment, they were no longer human. Days passed after that night. Granny and Grandpa stayed inside the house, but they were not the same people anymore. They no longer lived like a normal family. They started acting strange. They became aggressive, violent, and completely emotionless. Anyone who came near the house never came back. The house in the forest slowly became a place of fear. People from nearby villages started talking about it. They said there was something evil living inside, but no one knew the truth. No one knew what really happened to Diana and her family. Meanwhile, Angelina and the Cylinder Man had gone far away, but Angelina was not free. Even though she left the house, she was still under his control. The Cylinder Man had changed her completely. Her mind, her thoughts, even her soul. Over time, Angelina also became something else, something dark, something dangerous. And little Cylindrina, she was growing up in that same darkness. She was not like a normal child. She was born into something evil, and because of that, she carried that darkness inside her from the very beginning. Back in the forest, Granny had fully accepted her new form. She started protecting the house. No one could enter, and no one could escape. The traps inside the house were not random. They were placed carefully, like she was expecting someone or waiting for something. Grandpa also became more dangerous. He was slower, but stronger. Together, they turned the house into a prison. Years later, strange things started happening again. People began disappearing near the forest. Some said they heard noises at night, footsteps, doors closing, and sometimes a distant scream. But there was something else. Some people claimed they saw a woman near the forest, a woman who looked lost, confused, almost like she was searching for something. That woman was Angelina. Even after everything, a part of her was still fighting inside, trying to break free, trying to remember who she really was. But it was too late. The darkness had already taken over, and the Cylinder Man was still watching, still waiting, because his plan was not finished yet. Everything that happened to Granny and Grandpa was only the beginning. The real horror was still coming, and the house in the forest was no longer just a home. It had become something else, a place where no one escapes, a place where the past is still alive, and a place where Granny is always watching.